Hi, Mike Smith here. Today we're going to have a look at WordPress plugins. What are they? How do you install them? Where do you find them? And to what use can you put them? And if you want to go into more detail, then let me know and we'll have a look at a particular plugin that you're interested in. Today, for the purposes of this video, I'm just going to look at a couple of fairly simple ones. This one, Catch IDs, and this one, Embedly, which I use on my WordPress blog. So let's get started. Okay, so firstly, what are plugins? Well, you can see in the WordPress dashboard on the left-hand side there, you've got this menu item plugins, and underneath, inside there are all of these plugins that I've got on my website. And when you first install a WordPress blog, you probably only have a couple there, and they may not even be activated. But what they do essentially is add functionality to your WordPress installation. For example, Catch IDs here. In the list of posts and pages in WordPress, sometimes it's useful to know what the ID of a particular post is. That's the unique page identifier or post identifier. And most of the time you don't need it. Public visitors generally only see this URL, as you can see at the top here, but sometimes as the website administrator you do need to know what that ID is. And here is a plugin that comes from this website, Catch Themes, whose purpose is simply to make that visible, okay, in your list of posts and pages. So just adding this column here, the plugin does that. Okay, so we're going to have a look at the Catch ID plugin. The other plugin that I quite like at the moment is something called Embedly. And what that does is it allows you to easily embed the contents of another site into your site. And here is an example again. I use it to embed newspaper articles from online, news articles, and also Facebook page posts into my website content as well. It just makes it a bit easier, and you can see at the bottom right here, this little logo indicates that that's done using a plugin. Now I can do that manually, but the plugin just makes it easier. So that's done with this Embedly plugin here, and there are many other useful functions that you can use plugins for. There are literally tens, if not hundreds of thousands of WordPress plugins available. Some, well in fact probably most, are free, and the most common repository for WordPress plugins is the WordPress.org site. And this is the same website that you actually get the WordPress content management system from, WordPress.org. So as you can see here, there's some showcase, themes, and plugins directory here. And that's where many of the plugin developers upload their plugins for download. And the reason for that is just because it's easier to install from there. And I'll show you that in a moment. But that's not the only place where you can get plugins. For example, there are businesses and companies that specifically develop commercial plugins and themes, and one of those is WPMU Dev, for example. And so they've got a whole bunch of plugins here that are really useful, and some of them they charge for. In fact, in order to download these plugins, you actually need to be you need to have a developer's or a site license. And so in order for them to be able to charge for these plugins, they can't really list them here because this is all for free plugins. But what sometimes happens is that plugin developers have a free version of a plugin. For example, Yoast, there's a free version of the plugin. And then for additional functionality, here's another example, the WordPress multilingual plugin. They may want you to download a premium version. Now, this is important to know because when you install a plugin from WordPress.org, it's very simple and you can use your dashboard to do that. But when you install a plugin from a commercial provider, such as this one here, you need to know how to do this manually. So that's why I'm going to show you both methods today. Okay, so installing a WordPress plugin. Now, I'm going to use this Embedly plugin from WordPress.org as an example, and this will allow me to do both methods because this plugin will be accessible from my WordPress dashboard, but as you can see, there's also a download link. And so even the commercial and other sources of plugins will have a download link. So I'm going to use this to demonstrate both methods. Okay, so installing a plugin using your dashboard. Now, you may notice that my plugins page here looks a bit different from yours. I have a multi-site WordPress installation, and that simply means I've got a master site and sub-sites. At the moment, only one sub-site here. Now, the reason I'm showing you this is that it's possible your web designer has set your WordPress blog up like this as well. There are a number of reasons that they might do that. In any case, not to worry, because all I need to do is go to my master site dashboard plugins page, and then you'll see that this plugin page looks pretty similar to a standard WordPress installation. I've got plugins here and this add new button. So okay, so let's keep going. If I want to add a new WordPress plugin, I click this add new button here, and it brings up this page and a search box. Now, what you need to understand is that this search box is actually searching the WordPress.org plugins repository. They're connected. And so when I search here for my Embedly plugin, which of course is already installed, so just bear that in mind. If I press search here, it will look at the WordPress repository, but it may not be obvious that it's doing that because it's kind of doing it inside your WordPress dashboard. And you can see here Embedly is already installed, so it's giving me an option to update it. But for other similarly named WordPress plugins, I've got an install now button here and also a details button. So let's just have a look at those two. The details button simply brings up the information that, as you can see here, looks very similar to, let's just go to the Embedly version of this, what's listed on the WordPress.org plugins page for that plugin. So you can have a look at the plugin, you can have a look at the installation instructions, you can have a look at the screenshots. As you can see, that looks very similar to the screenshots here. So all of this information is actually being pulled live from this website into your site effectively. And when you decide, okay, yes, I do want to install this, then you just press the install button. Now mine says install update now, but for a new plugin it would just say install. Let me just quickly show you that with another one. This is a plugin that is not installed into my site, so if I press details here, you can see that, yeah, see that button just says install now. And when you do, what it does is it copies the zip file, the download file from the WordPress.org repository to your plugins directory, which I'll show you in a moment. And then after that, you get the option to activate it. So now you can bypass that little detail screen by just pressing install now. You can do that. So I'm going to demonstrate that next. Okay, so let's just use this one here as an example, the code embed one. And so firstly, I'll just find that on the WordPress.org directory, code embed, so we can follow through what's happening here. Code embed, that's the one. I'm pretty sure that's the one. Okay, so back to our install page, and let's have a look at the details for that again. Okay, now if I press install here, install now, that install now button there, that's exactly the same as if I press install now here. So let's do it from here. Firstly, we'll be asked to confirm. And then what it's doing now is that it's copying the files from the WordPress.org repository into your own WordPress installation. And you can see that here. It's actually taken it from that repository. And that's why code developers put it in that repository, because it's a nice, easy to use source of plugins. And it's unpacked it, which means it's unzipped it, and then copied it into the appropriate directory. Now, what directory is that? Let's have a look at that. This is, we're going to have a look at the file directory setup of the WordPress site, and this may be the first look that you've ever had at your own WordPress site, but it's really worthwhile being aware of what's actually going on and where everything is stored. So in your cPanel, you can use the file manager. And so in the file manager, you can use this tool here to look at the directory structure of your WordPress site. Now, generally, your WordPress installation will be in the public HTML directory and then under WP for WordPress, although your WordPress developer may have put it in a different place. And then underneath WP content, and underneath that will be plugins. And inside plugins will be all of these plugins that are installed. Now, if I just refresh this, that new plugin will appear somewhere. Yep, there it is there. And those are the contents of that plugin. That's useful to know because this gives you a clue about the manual installation. So just remember, all we've done here is we've pressed install. It's copied the plugin from the WordPress.org directory into this folder of your WordPress installation. You can do that manually, and that's what I'll show you just in a moment. Okay, so here we are in our WordPress site with our file manager open and the plugins folder visible, and we can see all the plugins that are available. Now, the reason I'm showing you this is because it gives you some background information that allows you to do it manually, but it also gives you some knowledge about how to deal with problems. Let's just go back to the normal dashboard page, if you like, and have a look at our installed plugins. Once that plugin folder is copied over to the to the appropriate place on your website, it will be listed here. So WordPress simply looks at whatever is in these folders here, that plugins folder, and that's the basis upon which it lists here. So now I'm looking for that new installation. Oh, it's actually under, oh, here it is, yeah, code embed. Okay, so how did that become visible? Simply because it exists in that folder. It's not actually activated yet. That code doesn't run until we press the activate button. And just remember that because I have a multi-site here, you've got the word network, but in your site, if it's a single installation, it'll just be activate. So if I delete this here, then it would be the same as if I simply deleted this whole set of files and the folder that it resides in. And that's basically how you deal with things going wrong. Sometimes when you install a plugin, it breaks your site. And so what you need to do, if you can't log in through your dashboard, is use cPanel and the file manager to locate the plugin subdirectory and the plugin that you've just installed, and you basically just delete it. So if I do that, this is the folder that we've just installed, and if I then delete that, yep, I want to delete it, go back to my dashboard, okay, and if I refresh this page, now just keep an eye here, that's the plugin that we installed. it's no longer there. And that hasn't broken our website. WordPress is quite happy. It only checks to see what's there. It's not until you actually activate the plugin that things really start to happen. So what we've done so far is used our dashboard to install a WordPress plugin. We have used our cPanel and file manager to understand where it's actually installed. And if things go wrong, we know how to get rid of that plugin as well. Okay, now, so we've done things in a rather unusual order, I suppose, but now we're in a position to have a look at the manual installation of a plugin, because now you understand where it actually sits in your WordPress site. It sits in this plugin folder here. So if I go to the code embed plugin page, and now I can actually download this version of the plugin to my hard drive and then upload it using the file manager into that area, and that should take us back to the same spot as we were before. So let's try that. Okay, so going to the code embed site, we've got a download link, and this download link for the plugin is equivalent to if you were buying a commercial plugin, so from WPMU or any of these other places here. So this method now works for plugins that don't happen to be in the WordPress.org directory. Okay, so now the downloading process depends on your file system, but I'm just right-clicking here and downloading the linked file, and I'm going to save it somewhere where I know that I can find it, and that just happens to be this folder here. Okay, and I'll just bring this folder across so you can see. This is the zip file. It generally comes down as a zip archive. What I need to do is unarchive that to open it. If you're running Windows, it'll be extract or something similar. On a Mac, it's simply open. And then the contents of that file are unarchived, and you may recognize this was the structure that we had in our plugins directory before. So what we need to do is copy all of these files inside their parent folder there up to our website using File Manager, and that's what we'll do next. So this represents the manual install now, and you can use cPanel's File Manager for this. That's fine. I happen to prefer using FTP for this, but it's really up to you. Okay, so let's just use the File Manager. So I'm in this directory, and what I want to do is upload. Choose a file, and now what I'll do is upload the zip file. Yep, it's uploading there. Shouldn't take too long because these zip files are not that big. They shouldn't be that big. Okay, and that's complete now. Go back to the File Manager, and I'll just reload that page there. And our simple embed. Now that's a zip file, so that needs to be unarchived. And so we just select that, press extract. Now we just need to be careful to monitor what it's doing here, and I'll show you what I mean in a moment. So I'll just extract that file. It's going to extract it into the plugins directory. That's fine. So let's watch it do that. Okay, now what has it actually done? Plugin simple embed code, creating, it created a subfolder called simple embed code. That's exactly what we wanted it to do. So simple embed code, that's there now. Okay, so that's done it correctly. Now, if we go back to our plugins, install plugins page, at the moment that isn't listed because I haven't refreshed it, but if I refresh the page now, it should pick up, and there it is. You see? And that's all there is to it. So just recapping, all we did was downloaded the zip file, and in this case it came from the WordPress.org repository, but it could have come from any of these other site, any source of a plugin. Comes down as a zip file. You download it to your local drive. Yep, there. And now if you use the file manager as part of your cPanel, then you don't need to unarchive this file on your hard drive. You simply upload the zip file and then extract it on your website. However, if you use FTP, you will need to upload the folder unzipped. Okay, so that works. And we are now at the situation where we can activate that plugin, which we'll have a look at in just a moment. But that basically is the installation process complete, both automatic and manual. Okay, so the final step in the process is to activate the plugin, and that is really straightforward. All we need to do is press the activate button. And just reminding once more that I've got a multi-site WordPress installation here, so I've got the word network here. And what that basically means is that I can activate this this plugin for all of my subsites. I've only got one subsite here at the moment, or I can leave it deactivated at the master site level, and then each subsite can have plugins activated individually, and you might want to do that depending on how your multi-site is set up. So that completes this this video on how to install plugins, and it's been a bit of an extended explanation and demonstration, simply because I do feel that it's very useful for people to understand what's going on behind the scenes. So thanks very much for watching.